My name is David Jenkinson. I'm the Chief Scientific Officer of the Brain Tumour Charity, and we are a foundation established in the UK but funding globally. And that's a word you're going to hear me use a lot today, is the word global. So I joined the charity about 4 years ago. Great, thank you. If you could go to the next slide. I joined the charity about 4 years ago, and one of the reasons that I did that is that it's one of the organizations that's really leading a global effort to try and change the outcomes from this devastating disease. We have two goals. They're very simple and very stretching. We want to double the survival from brain tumors and halve the impact that a brain tumor diagnosis has on a quality of life. From a research perspective, to date, we've invested over £50 million into that research, and we'll continue to push through and do that. We currently have about 68 projects, and in a global way, they are based around the world: USA, Australia, Canada, and Europe. And next slide, please. So why are we doing what we're doing? As I say, I joined about 4 years ago because these statistics make terrible reading. There are over 400,000 people diagnosed with a high-grade brain tumor last year alone, globally. Of those, 247 lost their lives. This is a significant unmet need, yet an orphan disease. In total, 8.5 million life years were lost in 2017, and in the UK, that equates to brain tumors being the biggest loss of life, years of life, for any cancer, and is also more significant than other unmet diseases such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. But the thing about brain tumors is we don't know why they do what they do. We can't identify the people that they will affect. They're the biggest killer of children and young adults under the age of 40 from a cancer, and they also kill quite significantly. Only 11% of people who have been adults who have been diagnosed with the cancer will survive beyond 5 years. Next slide, please. So what are we doing to address that? Well, our impact over the last 20 years has been quite significant. We've been involved with a number of the major breakthroughs in a number of different brain tumor types. From a research perspective, we were the funders of the first identification of different subtypes of medulloblastoma. Our funding has gone on to continue that work, and now we're funding trials that look specifically at different subtypes to see whether we can reduce treatment where the subtype is well treated and therefore decrease the late effects seen from that treatment, or in other cases increase the treatment to make sure that the survival increases. Quite recently, our funding identified a way to define on a personal basis whether or not a meningioma is likely to recur, thereby sparing people where it isn't likely to recur and allowing those where it is the treatment that they need to maximize their chances of survival. There was a landmark paper about 2 years ago, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, which showed the way that methylation arrays can profile and diagnose individual tumors, each of the brain tumor types. This is more accurate than normal histopathology, and that impacts in around 11% of cases on the treatment decisions that are being made. We're also working on new treatments. We're working with a not-for-profit organization called Meds for Kids, who are developing a drug specifically for a pediatric type of brain tumor called diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma. This only affects about 30 children in the UK, but it's really important because it is a very, very lethal subtype. We're working with other organizations around accessing drugs and repurposing them to deliver benefit for brain tumors. But we also do campaigning. We aren't just a research organization. We campaign and support as well. And our campaigning side, our HeadSmart campaign is an award-winning campaign. This has reduced the diagnosis time for pediatric patients in the UK from 13.5 to 6 weeks. And other countries, including the US, Canada, Australia have adopted the campaign, and in fact it has been translated in Latin America into Spanish to be used there as well. We also funded the initial research around what's called the integrated multidisciplinary care model and a dye called 5-ALA, which can be used as a surgical aid. Together, and following many years of campaigning, these have now been adopted as standards of care in the UK and are being rolled out across the UK at this point. Next slide, please. So what are we doing currently? How are we pioneering? Well, one of the ways we're pioneering is that we're working with CAI to run the brain race. We think this is a great opportunity to seed more companies in this space than have been done in a number of years. We also work on particular projects, and I just want to highlight two of those for you now. We have an app which we're developing called BRIAN, the Brain Tumour Information and Analysis Network. For an individual, this allows them to chart their own pathway and help them cope with their disease. It provides valuable insights for the healthcare professionals by linking them to the patient's check-ins, and provides quality of life linked to clinical data for researchers to use in the future. We also have a program called Future Leaders, and this is about identifying the best talent globally and nurturing that over a 12-year program, taking them from their postdoctoral career to a senior fellowship, whereby they then are leading their own labs around the world. It's about building a collaborative community, because we believe that collaboration is the best way and the only way that we're going to treat this disease. Next slide, please. So I think we're all looking forward to seeing the presentations that are coming today. So I just wanted to leave this slide with you. If you are interested in any of the work we're doing, and we can discuss the things that we touched on here or any of the other things that we're doing, then please do get in touch. But with that, I'll close and say thank you very much, and I look forward to the presentations.